Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Turn 3 Racing Network. As tonight we are here for the Racing Designs 125 right here at Irwindale as the Upstate Racing League gets back into race number 2 of the season. My name is KR Solfus, and in the booth with me is none other than Kelly Dahl. Kelly, how you doing tonight?
I am doing great. We're here at Irwindale, known as the North American capital of drifting. However, that's not what these guys are here to do. And really, what they're going to be trying to avoid is I took a few laps out there by myself during the warm-up there, and the car is actually pretty difficult on corner exit. It really wants to step out from you, and I think that's going to kind of get worse as the race goes on, because the high line is the dominant line here, but that line's going to be full of marbles by the end of this race.
So a lot has happened already. We've gone and had a qualifying LCQ, and Kelly, you were here for the LCQ. What can you tell us about that?
That it's very difficult to pass. As I mentioned, it is a bit of a one-lane racetrack. You want to be on that high line, and there was a few drivers that kind of got into each other as they were trying to just kind of muscle their way around. But we do have our starting order picked out. There was 8 drivers that were able to race their way in, and we have 2 provisionals for a starting field of 26 drivers.
All right, so 26 drivers going to make it out onto the speedway here tonight for the Racing Designs 125. Man, I'm ready for this one. As the warm-up session draws to a close, the drivers start pulling in. That means it is time to go through tonight's starting lineup on this one. So let's get right into it. I gotta find the button to hit. Got it. Inside, row number 1, the 39 of Bill Martin. On the outside, the 24 of Stefan Marinak. Row number 2 going to be made up of the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse, and on his outside, the 75 of Mike Alexander. Row number 3 going to be the 18 of AJ Hamill down on the inside. On the outside of row number 3, that's the 51 of Justin Fuller. Row number 4 going to be made up of the 6 of Joe Schaefer Jr. and Trey Edson on the outside. And row number 5 going to be the 11 of Brian Hacker. On his outside will be the 99 of Justin Rigsby.
Starting in row 6 on the inside is the 20 of Justin McDuff, and to his outside, that'll be the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre Jr. Brian Rogers Jr. will be starting on the inside of row number 7, and starting in 14th place to his outside will be AJ Rogers. Big boss man himself, Al Smith Jr., going to be starting in 15th and 16th. Our last driver to qualify his way in with a time of 17:795 will be Matt McLean. Guillaume Fortin won the LCQ. He'll be starting in 17th. Chris Stump will be to his outside in 18th. And row number 10, that's going to be the 70 of Dylan Canova and the 53 of Colin Phillip.
Row number 11 going to be the 8 of Andy Lambert, and on his outside, Paul Lacourt. Then finally, row number 12 going to be Matt Eddy and Gareth Gonder. And our final row here tonight will be Jeremy Carpenter in the 7, and on his outside, the 42 of Brett Bartels.
Bartels and Carpenter both making their way in by a provisional. They were the highest point scorers that did not make the field, so they get tacked on to the end, and hopefully they will be able to increase their points and have a bit bigger safety net for next week.
So pace car off, down and away. We're getting ready to fire this one off as Bill Martin has that preferred starting spot, and the green flag is out, and we are underway here at Irwindale. The Racing Designs 125 has a good start for Bill Martin.
A great start for Bill Martin, and Steph Marinak, even though he had that kind of preferred outside lane, just did not get the start that he wanted. And now Marinak having a fight with Barkhouse, who is still holding on to that inside line. And it seems like everyone's just kind of crowded around that dotted line up on that high lane. It almost seems like that dotted line just kind of marks out the best line here at this track, as everyone's slowly starting to work their way into a single file in the top. Joe Schaefer, our highest placed driver, that's still working that inside line in 5th.
So Bill Martin, your race leader, one driver who started from pit lane, that was Justin Fuller. He is out on the track. So Fuller, after missing the call to the grid, gets out there. He's still on the lead lap, but he has got a hole to dig himself out of. He's about half a lap behind.
Yeah, he was supposed to start in 6th, missed the call to grid as mentioned, and didn't realize it until it was too late, and has to start all the way from the back and work his way up now. And I'm sure he's hoping for a quick caution to kind of get himself back into this as we continue to fight here on lap 5. Martin holding a bit of a lead, about half a second now over Steph Marinak. He's still trying to fend off Matthew Barkhouse.
A lot of racing action throughout this field, several cars side by side. One of those being the 96 of Al Smith as he is trying to work to the inside of the 12 of Brian Rogers. Jimmy McIntyre in the 81 though. Really, these two been going at it for several laps, Kelly. And that bottom lane, you mentioned that top side preferred lane, but it's filling up with marbles already.
Yeah, we may see a few sliders thrown later on as the tires start to wear off. These guys will not be allowed to change their tires this week. They are starting and finishing on the same set, and Al Smith now trying the very bottom of that racetrack, and it's going to work out for him. He's actually going to get some good momentum off of that corner and nearly able to clear McIntyre that time around.
It's a very close racing here for spots 12, 13, 14, 15. I mean, all these cars right here under a blanket, everyone really close to single file here. The only one that has any bit of breathing room, that's our race leader, the 39 of Bill Martin.
And Martin did not start his season off the way he wanted to last week, getting caught up in an early wreck that pretty much ended his night. And this week trying to answer back with a strong start, and he's already opened up 0.6 of a second, but we've seen Steph Marinak able to kind of conserve the tires and make them last. So gotta wonder, is Bill pushing just a little too hard, a little too early? We've got 125 laps in this race, and we've only just finished 10.
Yeah, 125 laps on your tires. These drivers not able to come down pit road and take tires in this race. We saw them do that at Iowa, but here, a little bit of a shorter track, a little bit more of a you have to conserve yourself kind of feel to it.
And we're still seeing Martin hold up a huge gap over Marinak. That's 0.6 of a second now, and Marinak still defending over Barkhouse. We've kind of got a bit of a 4-car pack behind Martin. We got Marinak, Barkhouse, Alexander, and Schaefer Jr. just kind of all grouped up together in a little pack of 4. And then right behind them, AJ Hamill and Trey Edson. Edson almost getting into the back of that 18 machine. Edson was our fastest qualifier, but due to the invert, had to start in 8th, now up to 7th, and trying to find his way around Hamill and take over 6th. I think he wants to charge his way to the front.
So Edson with a spectacular rookie race debut here in the Upstate Racing League last week at Iowa. Now trying to dig out of a hole that being too fast put him in. That invert does have him having to work his way around the 18 of AJ Hamill.
However, he did kind of luck out because he was able to start on that outside lane, but now he is finding some trouble with that 18 machine. Hamill is just able to work these lanes and is just kind of making his car as wide as possible. Looks like Edson just can't find the momentum to get a good run off the corner to go after AJ.
AJ in that 18 machine holding off the 25 for now, but for how long? Well, with a race as long as this one, there's no way the 18 can, do this lap after lap without the 25, either at some point losing his cool, putting that bumper to him, or one of these drivers making a mistake somewhere, as the 20 of McDuff goes down below the yellow line there through 3 and 4, trying to find any bit of extra speed he can.
We used to see that a lot here at this racetrack, especially early on in the race. You'd see drivers diving way down below that white line, just like McDuff is doing now. But on these new tires, it seems like these things are very much preferring that high lane right from the start. But you got to experiment in these races. You got to find what's going to work and try to make it work. But that low lane is not quite working out for the 20.
So McDuff in the 20, getting back into line on the straightaways, but still trying to be a little bit lower than everyone else in front of him. Those 4 cars continue to battle it out. Bill Martin, your race leader, staying right around a 0.8 second gap to Steph Marinak, last week's winner at Iowa. And Bill Martin, after having a disappointing run for him at Iowa, got to be feeling good to be out in front of this one.
Yeah, big battle though, a little few spots back with the 17, the 81, and the 12. There's a number of cars there actually, as that 81 of Jimmy McIntyre trying to work the bottom lane and just not quite working out for him. That 12 car getting another shot in the bumper. We saw a couple laps ago, Rogers kind of got tapped, nearly went sideways, was able to save it, but lost a lot of ground. And now he's trying to hold off a few of these drivers. Rogers trying to attempt that bottom lane, not quite working out, and he's actually going to lose a bit of ground to Canova here. They're trying to go 3 wide at the top half of this racetrack.
Riding on board with Dylan Canova as he works this outside lane. Chris Stump in the 98 right there with him on that back bumper. And these drivers, man, I'll tell you what, week in, week out, every time we come to this Upstate Racing League show on Thursday night, there's action all over the track.
Yeah, we just have to find it as we scroll through our results here, and they are still battling out. Canova now actually going to get around Rogers and now trying to go, or sorry, go to, yeah, actually he's going to get around Rogers and go after Rogers. Sorry, we got him around Brian Rogers Jr., and now he's going after AJ Rogers as he's right on the bumper of that 17 car.
So the 70 of Canova working his way forward. The 98 of Chris Stump trying to move forward as well. Stump making it through the LCQ. Guillaume Fortin, the one who won our LCQ, he has really been a man on the move. He has found himself now sitting in 11th place. So the 13 machine making quick work of this field, trying to get into the top 10.
And I think that's just a testament to how strong this field is this season, when we have names like Stump and Fortin trying to, or not even trying, but having to race their way into the feature race. I mean, usually these guys are dominating around here, but with the drivers that we have this season, it is extremely tough to even make the show.
So the 13 of Guillaume finding himself just 6.1 seconds off the race leader. That is the 39 of Bill Martin. Bill Martin has led out in front every single lap so far. We have been green flag this entire time. But the 39 already starting to see a car to put a lap down. That is the 51 of Justin Fuller. So Bill Martin gonna have to deal with lap traffic here before too long.
Yeah, I'd say he's about a quarter of the racetrack behind him. So with this track, that's only a few seconds. I mean, they're running lap times of 18.3 at this point, so it might not take too long before Martin catches Fuller. He's running just about a 1/10 of a second per lap faster.
Steph Marinak in second, Matthew Barkhouse third, Mike Alexander fourth, and rounding out your top 5 right now, that is the 6 of Joe Schaefer. Schaefer stalking that 75, but a little bit of a gap between the 6 and the 75, as the 75 is going to take a peek down to the inside of Alexander, to the inside of Barkhouse. That is going to be a pass for the 75. He's going to get that momentum on that inside lane, but can't quite clear the 15 just yet. Now he's going to slide up in front of him.
That is the second pass that we've seen within the top 5. Those top 4, actually, that is the first pass we've seen within the top 4. But before that, Joe Schaefer was the only one in the top 5 that had actually moved there. Everyone else had been started first, currently in first, started second, currently in second. But Schaefer started 7th, had to work his way into 5th. And now we've seen Alexander finally make that move on Barkhouse. But while that happened, Marinak was able to open up a bit of a gap. He's almost got a second between him and Alexander. And There's 1.1 seconds now between him and Bill Martin, as Martin is just kind of running away with this race lead.
Bill Martin got that clean air, and he is enjoying this run in that 39 machine. And, you know, Kelly, you did mention it. Is he pushing that car a little too hard, or has he found a rhythm that really works for him? I mean, we could stay green for all 125 laps, but the way that this running order is right now could be entirely different by the end of this thing.
Yeah, Bill Martin had some speed in practice, and in qualifying just didn't quite put together his best lap, maybe on purpose to avoid getting dropped down to 8th. He was able to start in first due to that invert, and he's just been running away. So it's too early to tell. I think we will find out in a few laps if he's been burning the tires or not, but at this point it's seeming like he's found his groove and is just running off with this, as he is closing in on the 51 of Justin Fuller, who him himself was a fairly quick driver. He was supposed to start in 6th.
So the 6 of Joe Schaefer now trying to work to the inside of the 15 of Barkhouse. Matthew Barkhouse on that outside lane, really able to put up a fight, as the banking here at Irwindale is kind of progressive. The closer you get to the wall, the more the banking there is, and that usually means the more speed you can carry through the corner. But a lot of cars not being right up along the wall has allowed that marble buildup, and it has really caused it to be slit.
Yeah, with the way I have my camera set up, I'm pretty much looking down at these guys as they go around, and you pretty much just see one clear patch around the track, and that's around that dotted line in the corners. Everywhere above that and below that is kind of just covered in marbles, and it's only going to get worse as this race goes on. Even the race, the surface that they are racing on is starting to build some marbles. Oh, door bang between the 15 and the 6 as they get into each other. I think Marco's just getting a little annoyed that he's got a car to his inside just constantly, and now that 6 not actually quite backing off. He's still going to try to keep the fight with them.
As we go with our butt kicker on board camera with Joe Schaefer Jr., our gyro cam showing just how much of banking there is. And you can see as he works down to the bottom lane, that bottom doesn't have a whole lot of banking. He's going to go all the way down to the yellow line for this one. And Joe Schaefer trying anything he can to get around the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse. Barkhouse just doing what he needs to do to stay right there and hold on to his position.
I think he might have just been feeling that one out. It looks like he may have had the opportunity to get in front of that 15 and force the 15 to go low, but maybe he just thought it was too much of a risk, not even halfway through this race. But that definitely looked viable from at least where I was sitting. And here he's going to try it again. Maybe he's going to see if he can actually throw the slider this time. Schaefer through the marbles, going to get back up, not quite enough to get in front of the 15 that time though.
Yeah, that is a very difficult maneuver to pull off, and you got to time it just right. But the 6 not able to get it done here just yet. So Schaefer in 5th spot, trying to take 4th away. Let's go ahead and take a moment and take a peek at some of our other cars that are in battles here. The 99 of Justin Rigsby out in front of Guillaume Fortin, and the 96 of Al Smith. It's the 88 of Matt McLean. Those drivers find themselves in 10th, 11th, and 12th. And just ahead of them, is Trey Edson going to get into the back of Justin McDuff.
And he got in the back of Hacker when Hacker pulled that same slider that we saw Schaefer trying. He got up right in front at that time. Instead of being like Schaefer and kind of holding off, he decided to get right in front of that 25, and the 25 just gave him a hard shot, and that allowed the 20 of McDuff to sneak by. So good move for Hacker, a bit rough for Edson as he drops back a few more positions.
So Edson finding himself in 9th place now. McDuff just ahead of him in 8th, Brian Hacker in 7th, and then the 18 of AJ Hamill holding on to 6th place. That 18 machine, very solid run going for him as we're working lap 52 of 125. This race quickly clicking off the lap times, and man, 125 laps isn't a long time here at Irwindale.
I think I did some rough math earlier. This might be a 40-minute race, but just behind the guys we've been talking about, Rigsby and 410 are battling it out. 410 looked like he was going to get around Rigsby not too long ago, but got loose in 3 and 4. That allowed Al Smith to close up to them, but Smith decided to smartly drop back behind them instead of going 3 wide. Realized it wasn't going to be doing anything for him, but seems like there is some problems with the handling in that 13 car. It is all over the racetrack as that back end is just wiggling on him in these corners.
Guillaume looks like he is going to clear Justin Rigsby, moves in to 10th spot. But Rigsby battling right back, and things happen very quick at Irwindale here. Just when you think you're able to clear someone, they get that big run on the outside lane.
Yeah, one of the reasons why this outside lane is so dominant, you're just able to carry the momentum a lot better, as we see drivers getting right up to the wall now, and that actually ended up going a bit poorly for Rogers as he got up towards the wall, got into the marbles, and then looks like he may have scraped the wall, but he's kind of recovered from that, trying to fend off that 98 of Chris Stump, who we know is an extremely fast driver, but has found himself down in 16th. I think this is just one of the tracks he's mentioned before that kind of struggles at.
The more drivers that start venturing up into that top lane, the more they can clear off the marbles that are developing up there. Especially as this tire starts to wear out, the more that tire wears out, the more drivers are going to be trying to find somewhere cool to put them to get a little bit of extra grip. That top lane going to start looking real enticing here in the next few laps.
And our lead drivers are starting to fend with some lap traffic, as Bill Martin's already been able to get around Brian Rogers, who found himself into some trouble and has dropped way back in the field. Now the 24 of Marinak going to get around him as Rogers goes all the way up towards the wall to try to let that 24 car by.
So Bill Martin now having to deal with lap traffic as he is coming up next on the 7 of Jeremy Carpenter. Carpenter was battling with the 51 of Fuller. Fuller, who missed the grid, is trying desperately to stay out in front of the 39 of Bill Martin, but the yellow flag going to come out. It looks like Mike Alexander going for a spin along with the 6 of Joe Schaefer. Take a look at that one. Schaefer in the 6 got a run down on the bottom, but when he tried to come up and blend in, the 75 of Alexander had all the momentum. Barkhouse getting a little piece of it as well.
Yeah, Schaefer was just trying that slider that he had attempted a few times before, but just didn't quite find the gap between the 2 cars that he was expecting. Ends up getting into Alexander and taking the 2 of them for a spin, but there was a bit of a secondary contact there, so that's going to deal some pretty heavy damage to those cars. Hopefully they're able to keep going, but the big question is, how much damage did Barkhouse get there? He kind of got into Schaefer a little bit. I'm taking a look at his car. He does have some front end damage, but not too much. Looks like he should still be competitive here.
Well, we have a little bit of a break. Let's take a moment here and look at our points coming into tonight's race. Steph Marinak, by virtue of winning at Iowa, coming away with the points lead. Justin Fuller, Trey Edson, Mike Alexander, Justin McDuff, your top 5 in the points coming into this run. But how we're going to walk away at the end of this Irwindale race is anyone's guess, as Bill Martin is out in front of Steph Marinak. So Bill Martin looking to gain a lot of valuable points here tonight.
Yeah, there is one race that they are allowed to drop from the first 7 races of the regular season. So I would assume that Martin is going to drop the first race as long as he's able to kind of keep it clean for the rest of the season. And I think that's going to be kind of his goal, is just focus on good, strong, clean finishes to kind of offset that already losing basically his drop week.
With this yellow coming out, we do have 2 cars that were not on the lead lap. That was Brian Rogers Jr. and Andy Lambert. And only 1 car came down pit road. I do believe that was Justin Fuller. Fuller may be coming down pit road to hammer out a little bit of damage. Didn't spend a lot of time on pit lane. Nobody else hitting pit road. But here we are, Kelly. We're stacking them up. We're going back to green flag racing.
Yep, his car's down and away. Bill Martin will have control of the field this time, just waiting until he gets into the restart zone. Stefan Marinak going to be having to watch out the left side window to see when that 39 jumps, and there he goes off of turn 4. Big wiggle from a lot of these cars, including the 39, as they had some big wheel spin. Here comes the 15 of Barkhouse, trying to slide up in front of Marinak and take away the high side. Marinak swaps to the bottom and seeing if he can fight back. Oh, contact between them. 15 goes sideways, and there's a save. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this is the North American capital of drift, and Matthew Barkhouse kind of showing that maybe he could join Formula D if this doesn't work out for him.
Yeah, Barkhouse with a heck of a save. Marinak still not able to clear the 15, and Marinak had a big checkup trying to allow the 15 to catch it. He did not want to get any part of a car that was out of control. And, you know, when that happens, Marinak made the right call, trying to check up, trying not to either hit the 15 anymore or get collected if the 15 overcorrects or any of those things. So we stayed green. And now the 15 of Barkhouse moves in front of Stefan Marinak.
And Marinak slots it back into third place, and just behind them, still a big battle of the 20 of Justin McDuff, fighting hard against Brian Hacker, trying to see if he can get himself up into, or at least kind of secure 5th place. Behind them as well, Trey Edson also on that bottom lane. He's battling against the 13 of 410 and the 96 of Smith Jr. And there is some heavy fighting here on this track.
We are already past the halfway mark. We are on the downhill side of our lap counter, and man, this race is just flying by. But one driver who is making it go by very quickly, that's the 39 of Bill Martin. He has led every single lap, and he is once again opening up a huge lead. He has a 1.1 second lead over Matthew Barkhouse, as Barkhouse now has to deal with Marinak to his inside.
Caution out on the racetrack. Looks like it's gonna be for the 33 of Paul Lycourt. He's sideways off of turn number 4, and I'll have to go back and take a look at what happened. It looks like they may have gotten into the 53 of Colin Phillip.
So around goes the 33 machine after a little bit too much of the front bumper from the 53 of Colin Phillip. So not too much heavy damage on the 33. Good news, just a little simple spin, no contact with the wall or anything like that.
And that's always, you got to kind of take the small victories after a spin like that. You got to remember that your car is still clean. You're still in this race. You can still there's still time to make up some positions and get yourself back into this. But Martin probably not wanting to see these cautions come out. He keeps jumping out these leads, and then the caution kind of eliminates it. But last time with Barkhouse and Marinak going after each other right off the drop of the green flag, that was able to allow Martin to open up a second gap pretty much instantly.
All right, guys, well, we're going to take this moment to step away for a quick break. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
The The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Best Colorful Creations, the official cake supplier of the Upstate Racing League, Carpenter's Tax Service, SUNY's Country Market,
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the 39 of Bill Martin still continues to cycle around behind the Ford Mustang. We're working lap 77 of 125. Kelly, we're under our second caution of the night, and this is only going to heat things up a little bit more as we get closer to the end of this race.
Yeah, we saw it last time, right off the drop, the green flag, the 15 and the 24 went to fight each other out and nearly ended up poorly for Barkhouse as he went sideways off of turn 4 with a little bit of help from the 24. We also saw on that green flag last time that there's a few drivers, when they stomped on the gas, that back end tried to walk away from them, and we saw that as well from Bill Martin. Didn't have the greatest start, but I think he kind of lucked out with the 15 and 24 battling it out.
Bill Martin on the inside of road number 1, Matthew Barkhouse on the outside for this restart. Then it's Steph Marinak and AJ Hamill making up road number 2, and Bill Martin gets on the throttle. He clears the 15, but the 15 had to check up. That is going to allow Marinak to move into second place for the moment, but Barkhouse charging hard on that outside lane.
And I think that's going to be a penalty for that 39. We've seen it called before. Off the drop of a green flag, you have to stay in your lane until the start-finish line. 39 car didn't do that. He came up and even clipped that 15. So we'll have to see what they're going to call this. Still a lot of battling throughout the field. Everyone's still side by side. Marinak Chill trying to go after Barkhouse. Barkhouse going to lurch out ahead. 3 wide back in the field as the whole pack is just kind of bunched up.
Yeah, everyone trying to gain a spot before this field gets strung out. Brian Hacker on the outside of Guillaume Fortin, as Guillaume got a little bit sideways going into the corner there. One all the way down on the bottom. That's Edson in the 25.
Yeah, Fortin is strong at this racetrack. He nearly got his first win here 2 years ago, was running a dominating race until his internet dropped him out. So we'll have to see what he's going to be able to do. He started 17th. He's already up to 7th, and he wants more as he's continuing to battle against Brian Hacker. He's going to have 6th place at the line this time, but still not quite clear of that 11 car as they have a huge pack behind them.
A lot of angry race car drivers, short track tempers, and they are all stacked up right now. Man, nothing gets your blood boiling, nothing gets you hotter under the collar than close quarters racing side by side, lap after lap. But that is what's going on right now with this Upstate Racing League as they are in their 10th season. And man, what a season this one is going to be.
And that 13 car, he's in a pavement super late model, looking more like a dirt super late model as that car is getting sideways in the corners and starting to lose him some ground as he lost the 11 of Hacker. And now Smith going around the outside along with Dylan Canova. So some problems for that 13 car. He's going to have to try to find his way into that high line, or at least try to find a way to cool off those overworked tires.
Yeah, Guillaume's struggling right now, but he's not the only one, as that car again looks like it really gets into the corner very sideways, but he settles it down. But man, he's scrubbing a lot of speed trying to get into the corner as everyone else rolling that high side, the 13 continuing to fall back.
And this is a good point to remind, this is a fixed setup league. Everyone's basically driving the same car, so everything you kind of see with the characteristics of the car is really the characteristics of their driving style. Is that 13 is not set up to go a bit more sideways than everyone else. He's just pitching it in a bit more sideways. Now he's going to slot into that high line after Trey Edson goes by. He's going to actually go right up to the wall, and if he can start working the high lane to get back, is looking back up towards the front. Bill Martin is running away from Barkhouse and Marinak, who are again nose to tail.
Yeah, Bill Martin in that 39 machine has been one of the fastest cars all night long. He has led every single lap, and here he is now trying to open up a lead. He's already sitting at a 0.6 second gap to the 15 of Barkhouse. And as time rolls on, we might see that gap open up a little bit more. We're coming down to the nitty gritty, 35 laps to go in this one.
Yeah, and seeing again, Marinak looking to the inside. He wants to take second place back. He's only going to be able to get the nose to that left rear quarter panel of Matthew Barkhouse. Not going to be able to do anything off that with the momentum off the bottom lane, as that high lane just gets a better run off the corner and is able to easily defend using the straightaways. And he's able to kind of get himself back into a bit of a gap, as just behind them, AJ Hamill and Justin McDuff slowly closing in. But at the same time, those two are nose to tail.
Yeah, McDuff in the 20. Is the yellow flag going to come out once again? I think this one going to be for Gareth Gonder, as the 81 goes spinning down the backstretch. We'll see if we can get another look at that. Contact with Justin Fuller, going to send the 81 around off of turn number 2. Slight contact with the outside wall, but other than that, that 81 doesn't look to work too bad out there.
And I think that's just a kind of just a result of how difficult it is to pass here tonight, as these cars are all kind of running the same lane, and Fuller just trying to throw it up the inside to make up for his missing the grid earlier on and trying to get himself back into this race. However, it's going to kind of work against him, as he's going to get the penalty for causing the caution drop all the way to the rear of the field. So he's going to move himself back down into 24th.
All right, well, with that said, guys, we are going to take another quick break. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Kabang Energy Candy contains 100% of vitamins B6, B12, and C, plus ginseng. And the best part is, no caffeine. Kabang Energy Candy is sold everywhere, including participating Walgreens. Kabang Energy Candy, it's bangalicious.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by M&M Country Store, Dr. Noy's Custom Paint and Diecast, Coach's Corner, Kabang Energy Candy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the lights go out on the pace car. We get ready to fire them off once again. Coming up next week, that is November 5th, we will be at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas for the Dr. Noise race. That one going to be another epic close quarters battle. And then following that one, we'll be at Five Flag Speedway for 2 very short tracks right in a row. Here we go. Green flag out. Kelly, the 39, this time staying in his lane. The 24, Stephen Marinak, to the inside of Barkhouse.
And those cars going way up the racetrack. Marinak still trying to fight his way on that bottom lane. He's going to lose out to that 15, might lose out. Actually, he's going to be able to battle a little back on that low lane. He's trying to work it as much as he can, seeing if he can hold on to just at least 3rd place, as we've got that 18 of AJ Hamill just behind them, trying to just kind of pounce on any sort of mistake. Behind them, though, a big pack of cars as everyone kind of fights it out for position. Now there's a slot for that 24 to move up, and he is going to move at the high lane. And now for the first time tonight, you see Bill Martin under a bit of pressure as Barkhouse is staying with him.
Yeah, Barkhouse in the 15 right there with the 39. We got 26 laps to go, but Bill Martin looks like maybe just starting to slowly increase that gap to the 15. Give him some time. We'll see how this plays out. But man, not at the front, but maybe a little bit further back. The 11 of Brian Hacker finding himself on the inside of Dylan Canova Canova up 13 spots so far since the drop of the green flag of this race. He's looking to move and gain a few more.
Yeah, Canova been able to make passes where pretty much no one else has been, as everyone's been struggling to gain ground, but Canova from 19th to 6th here, and that has been probably been extremely difficult for that car. Now getting a little bump, actually getting bumped for both the front and behind as he gets into the rear. The 20 gets bumped into by the 13. Now that 11 of Hacker going all the way down to the bottom, seeing if he can pull a bit of a slide job off on these guys, but not quite gonna work.
Now, not enough speed on the bottom lane just yet. The 11 of Hacker back to battling door to door with the 70 of Canova. Meanwhile, at the front, Bill Martin opening up just a little bit of a gap on the 15 of Barkhouse. Barkhouse trying to pull away from Steph Marinak. Marinak with a gap to AJ Hamill. So the top four spreading out just a little bit. And then it's the 20 of Justin McDuff and the 70 of Dylan Canova. Brian Hacker falling in line in the 7th spot. Guillaume up in 8th. Trey Edson 9th. And rounding out your top 10 is the 96 of Al Smith. But don't look now. That's the 75 of Mike Alexander. Right behind him, Alexander involved in our first caution of the night.
Yeah, Alexander making a good bounce back here as he's got himself back up into 11th. He had started in 4th, but as you mentioned, involved in our first accident, had to drop way back in the field and has slowly been grinding his way back out now and trying to work his way back into the top 10. Back at the front, though, there is a gap really forming now between Martin and Barkhouse, and the gap between Barkhouse and Marinak has disappeared as that 24 car back to the rear bumper of the 15, and while those two fight it out, Martin is just going to keep walking away from them.
So Marinak right now holding on to 3rd spot. I'm going to go on board with the 24 machine. Last week's winner finding himself in 3rd place here with 17 laps to go. He's going to dig all the way down to the white line there. Not quite to the yellow, but the white line close enough for him on that one. As he tries it one more time. He is really trying to use the throttle to turn this car and get that momentum going.
I think the fight between these two cars is really what's been the key to Bill Martin leading this. Is he really worked his tires, it seemed. Barkhouse was able to keep up with him for a bit, but because he also had to work his tires trying to fend off the 24, he just doesn't quite have the speed to kind of keep fighting the 39, and now he has to shift his focus behind him instead of in front of him, and Steph Marinak filling up that rear view and trying everything he can to get around the 15 of Barkhouse.
Battles all over the speedway. Justin McDuff trying to work around the 18 of AJ Hamill. Right behind them, Brian Hacker taking a peek to the inside of Dylan Canova. That's a battle that's been going on since the restart. Guillaume in the 13. He doesn't know if he wants to go high or low. He wants to just try and get by both of them.
Yeah, he's following the two of these drivers, seeing which line is going to kind of beat out the other, which lane is he going to want to be in. As he's going to get right up to the bumper of that 70 is the 11 of Hacker going to the high line, and caution is going to come out. So perfect timing for Hacker to finish off that pass. And before he can even get a counterattack, we have a caution come out.
Take a look at this one. The 99 of Rigsby going to go around. He is going to collect the 87 of Matt Eddy, and that looked like a little bit of a bump going into the corner for the 99 by the 81 Jimmy McIntyre. McIntyre just getting in the back a little bit of the 99. I think I had the wrong 81. That was Gareth Gonder in the 81. Jimmy McIntyre tried to squeeze by on the outside lane.
Yeah, he's the 181, but his paint job only kind of drops that first one, but it has been declared a bit of a net code incident, so there will not be a penalty handed out for that caution. So unfortunate for that 99, just going to drop back through the field now into 20th with not too many laps for him to make up ground. As now under caution, we are going to go 10 laps to go.
We will use a green, white checkered if we have to. one is available to be used here tonight. Just one attempt at it. If we can't get it in our regularly scheduled distance program. One car with the wave around, making it, trying to get back on the lead lap. I believe that is Colin Phillip in the 53. But Phillip, several laps down. Still feels good to get one of your laps back no matter what.
Yeah, it's always good to just kind of get yourself back on the lead lap, because then if anything happens in front of you, you can actually get those positions. And if you're a lap down, big crash happens in front of you, you get around 10 cars, well, you kind of get nothing to show for it. So that lucky dog, always helpful, even if it is late in the race like this.
Bill Martin, your race leader, has been out in front for every single lap so far here tonight. Things that have changed is the competition behind him. The car that maybe has restarted on his outside lane, the drivers who have been trying to chase him, maybe getting a good view at the front of the 15 or the 24, but it has been all Dr. Noise here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely dominating drive from that 39 of Bill Martin. We were wondering, we were kind of concerned about him early on if he was maybe pushing the car too much, and he may have been, but he's kind of lucked out with the cars behind him having to fight each other, wearing their own tires down, and that's allowed him to keep this dominating position. And now it looks like he just has to hold on to it one more time. His lights are out on the pace car, and we'll see if this may be our last green flag run of the night.
Gonna get the green flag with 6 laps to go. Pace car down and away. We're gonna see how this one shakes out. The 39, the 15 on row 1 for this restart, then the 24 and the 18, and away we go. Bill Martin in the 39 gets away cleanly, but Brian Hacker in the 11, he is sideways. Somehow he holds on to it, and we stay green, but everyone's scrambling for every position out there.
Yeah, that 15 of Barkhouse trying to keep up with the 39 of Martin, and he's going to hope to maybe make a move before this race is over. 5 to go now. The laps are going to tick by quickly. He doesn't have much time. He's got to make a move at some point here if he wants to go for the win. He is right on up top of the bumper of that 39 machine.
Digging hard is the 15 of Barkhouse, but Steph Marinak in the 24 needs to be patient just a little bit. Maybe not try and make a move till the 15 does and wait for an opening that the 15 has, but right now it looks like everyone getting single file in the top 3 as we're going to have 3 laps to go this time.
Yeah, gap starting to open up between that 15 and the 39. It looks like Martin may be able to hold on as Barkhouse is struggling to hold on to his race car out of turn 2 there. Car got completely sideways. Now here comes Steph Marinak trying to go for the 2nd place, and he's not going to be able to do it off of turn number 4 there. He's going to have to back off 2 to go.
Down the backstretch goes the 39 of Bill Martin after putting in a dominating performance. We are going to bring this one to the white flag. It is the final time around here at Irwindale for the Racing Designs 125. And Bill Martin down the backstretch. Little bit of pressure from the 15 as the 15 is going to take a peek to the inside lane, but nothing from it. And off at turn number 4, it is going to be the 39 of Bill Martin.
125 laps in the race, 125 laps led for the 39 of Bill Martin, as a couple of cars crashing after the checkered flag there. But it's going to be all Bill Martin here tonight.
Bill Martin picking up the win on this one, getting the congratulations from the 18. 2nd place going to Matthew Barkhouse. Stefan Marinak finishing in 3rd. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a quick little break as the 39 celebrates his race win and set up our post-race show. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Bowling brings people together.
Right down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
It was
what you can do, man.
Wait.
That's a strike right there.
Connect with family and friends. Go bowling.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Best Colorful Creations, the official cake supplier of the Upstate Racing League, Carpenter's Tax Service, SUNY's Country Market. The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Eddie's Meat Market. Nobody beats Eddie's Meat. Hanson Starter Shop. Racing Designs. CEG Dealer School. Train, play, consult.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to kick off our post-race show, and we're going to start with our third place finisher. That is none other than the driver of the 24 machine, Mr. Stephen Marinak. And Kelly, you got this one.
Yeah, caught up with the driver of the 24, Steph. Bit of a tough race here tonight. We saw kind of throughout the whole field that it was really difficult to pass. I mean, what did you see from your point? Where was the kind of opportunities to pass here?
No, I mean, you're exactly right. There's just no passing at all. I think I was a lot faster than those, well, at least the 15 there at the end. I had a different line I was running that really let me pick up speed, but I couldn't do anything. So it was tough, but I had a rough practice session. I didn't think I'd be very fast, and then I somehow pulled out a pretty good qualifying lap, and this is pretty much a win for me. This is one of my worst tracks, so I'm happy with a third.
And looking out at this racetrack right now, I'm seeing the whole thing just kind of littered with marbles. I mean, do you feel like those restricted your kind of lane choices?
Not really. I mean, they were down toward the very bottom, and I only ran down there one time, and then there were some at the very top, which I never ran either. I really liked running the middle of the track, and that was pretty clean.
Well, you mentioned that this wasn't one of your good tracks. Next week, we're going to be going to the Bull Ring, and how are you feeling about your chances there?
I feel pretty good there. It's a really small track, and you're on the bottom there, unlike here where you run the top. I can never get a feel for this place. So that should be a much better track, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Stefan, a great third place finish here tonight, and I'm sure you're very well aware of our procedure here. We're going to give you the mic, and who do you wish to thank for your run tonight?
Yeah, thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Thank you to Racing Designs for sponsoring this race, and shout out to my teammates at Empire Racing Team. We got third, fourth, and fifth tonight, so that was awesome.
Thank you very much for coming and talking to us, Steph, and hopefully we hear from you again next week.
Thanks.
Steph Marinak, driver of the 24 and third place finisher here tonight, and gonna throw it back to you, KR, and I believe you finally caught up with our race winner.
I believe I have caught up with our race winner, and if you guys aren't buckled in, hold on tight, because it is none other than the 39 of Bill Martin.
Yeah, it is. Hi.
Hi, Bill. How are you doing tonight?
Despite winning, this race sucked.
Well, tell us a little bit about your race out there tonight.
Well, starting first is good because nobody could make any passes, and I'm pretty sure that this setup that iRacing put out was meant for nighttime, and then Al changed the gear for it, but the gear made the topside dominant because it just wasn't enough. So I don't think I didn't get to see it, but I have teammates, and they were complaining they couldn't make any passes. And yeah, but I mean, even in the front, the setup it doesn't feel good on the track, so it was just no fun to drive. And this is one of my favorite tracks, so you know, winning the race and driving it was not fun at all. Unfortunately, it's just the setup can really ruin it for you.
Well, despite maybe not having the most fun setup, you definitely had one of the fastest cars out there after you put in a dominating performance leading every single lap of this thing, man. That 39 got a little bit of damage on the right side, but that came in a post-race celebration. First of all, I gotta ask, how'd you learn how to turn that race car into a skateboard?
This was one of the original tracks, and they haven't changed the way the wall is set up with the fence. So the wall and the fence lines are identical to each other, so you can just drive up it all the way around the track. That's why my practice lap time was 3/10 faster than the fastest lap time, because I drove around the fence for a lap just to see what lap time I'd get. It was good.
All right, Bill. Well, that 39 machine sits in victory lane. A nice recovery after what could be considered a disappointing finish at Iowa last week. Any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give for this finish here tonight?
No thanks to Al and his setup. Rue Al. No thanks to Al. Did I mention no thanks to Al?
No, I don't believe you did.
Absolutely no thanks to Al.
Okay. So Al is not being thanked.
All right, well, thank Al. Thank Al for making this nice league that everybody gets to drive in. Everybody in the league's pretty sweet. I like them. Good people. Especially with how you had to overrun the corners on restarts. Nobody ran into the back of me. And, I mean, it's really hard not to run into the back of somebody when you have to drive like that. But the fact that nobody did is remarkable and speaks loads to the drivers that were up front with me.
All right, Bill. Well, once again, man, congratulations on the race win. Nice job out there.
Thanks, man. See you guys later.
That is Bill Martin, your race winner. We are going to now talk to our second place finisher here. And Kelly, I'm going to let you handle this one.
Yeah, caught up now with the driver of the number 15, Matthew Barkhouse. You started in third. You're the only driver in the top three to make a move. And how did you kind of pull that one off? We saw you kind of get the run off of the restart. And can you kind of walk us through the move that you made that secured second place?
Yeah, on that restart there, it seemed like everyone else was having a hard time firing off and spinning the tires. And just getting that good run off, I didn't want to be the guy that sends it in deep and collects someone. And I knew that I had most of his car cleared. I just had to push up a bit. So I just drove it a little more higher than what I was planning on going now to hold the bottom. And once you kind of get up high, there's no way to pass. So it was now or never for that. I'm just glad it didn't take anyone out, and it actually stuck a little bit and it didn't touch the wall.
Speaking about those restarts, we kind of saw some other people having issues with them. And what did you kind of feel off of the restarts?
Yeah, I didn't actually find them that bad. With these cars and stuff in this new tire model, they seem to spin a lot, especially at these kind of wider, big sweeping tracks. Starting up on the top makes it a lot easier. Just being that 4 or 5 feet up, trying to get the restart, you're not turning the wheels much, so the car's a little straighter, so it's going to fire off better. But it's been working out for me so far tonight. I don't know what I was doing differently other than just hitting the gas pedal, but it was working so far.
Well, a good solid finish here tonight, and that's going to move you from possibly being just outside of our chase standings up into our top 10. And how are you feeling about the start of your season?
Yeah, it's going way better than I expected. This is my second year with these guys. And last year, starting off the first half of the season, I was excited to have had like a 15th place finish. Wasn't in the chase or anything like that. So I'm surprised that I'm running up here with these guys. And hopefully I can keep having good finishes like this and be a contender at the end.
Yeah, as you mentioned, last season, a single top 5. This season, after 2 races, you've already matched that. So you're already off to a great start. And before we let you go, though, who would you like to thank for this second place finish here you had tonight?
Our race team is Rev Racing, so all the guys there. My brother's racing with me tonight. Mike Alexander there, and then there's Keith and Ronnie, and another Mike that we race with. But also our sponsors on the car as well, Xander Sign Group, and our kinsmen's Celtic Air Services and Celtic Air Helicopter Tours. They all help us on the real cars. We make sure they're on the iRacing cars as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming out and talking to us, Matt. And hopefully we'll hear from you again next week at the Bull Ring.
That would be awesome. Can't wait. Thank you.
All right. So that's Matthew Barkhouse, driver of the number 15 and our second place finisher here tonight. KR?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, this race here at Irwindale Speedway was a very intense one. for pretty much everyone but Bill Martin. Kelly, your thoughts on this race? A lot of time spent here at Irwindale. It is one of the original iRacing tracks, and the drivers have been here quite a bit. So with all that being said, I feel like they know all the little tricks, all the little nuances of Irwindale, and we didn't see a whole lot of them able to really use that bottom lane like we know is possible.
Yeah, and as mentioned, it may have just been due to the setup. As I said, this is a fixed setup league. You cannot make any adjustments. What you get is what you get. So everyone was kind of dealing with the same thing, but Bill Martin was just able to make it work that much better. But we did see that passes weren't entirely impossible because, as mentioned, Dylan Canova, he came up 13 positions. We saw a few other drivers encounter some problems earlier on and then kind of work their way back up. So it was possible, but extremely difficult here.
That it was. So with all that being said, nothing left but to go through our results for this one. So let's take a look at our finishing order here. Bill Martin, your race winner. Right behind him, Matthew Barkhouse, Stefan Marinak finishing in third. We got to talk to all three of our podium finishing drivers. AJ Hamill in fourth, and rounding out your top five was the 20 of Justin McDuff.
And as mentioned, our biggest mover of the night, Dylan Canova, from 19th up into 6th. Just behind him, Brian Hacker moves up a couple spots as well to finish in 7th. Trey Edson, caught in battles throughout the entire night, finishes in 8th. Guillaume Fortin recovers from a poor qualifying effort and is able to come home in 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is the 96 of Al Smith.
AJ Rogers finishing in 11th. 12th goes to Mike Alexander. Joe Schaefer finishing in 13th. Chris Stump going to bring it home 14th. And 15th goes to the 88 of Matt McLean.
Brett Bartel is able to come home in 16th. 17th goes to Paul Lycourt. 18th is Gareth Gonder. 19th, Jimmy McIntyre. And rounding out the top 20 is the 51 of Justin Fuller.
Jeremy Carpenter, 21st. Matt Eddy, 22nd. 23rd goes to Justin Rigsby. 24th, Colin Phillip. Ryan Rogers, 25th. And Andy Lambert going to be scored in 26th spot here tonight. And, well, we move on to our next race next week at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas. Andy Lambert looking to bounce back from this 26th spot and have a good showing next week. So guys, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you all enjoyed the show, and I'm going to let Kelly say good night and goodbye to all of y'all because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, another fantastic race here at Irwindale. A little bit not as much passing as we saw at Iowa, but still a lot of close and intense battles. Come back again next week as we are going to be going to the Bull Ring, and we will be under the lights once again for the Dr. Noise Paints and Custom Diecast 125. So until next time, have a good night.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Eddie's Meat Market. Nobody beats Eddie's Meat. Hanson Starter Shop. Racing Designs. CEG Dealer School. Train, Play, Consult.